What's up guys, Groovy Guitar Dude here with a beginner guitar tutorial for The Archer by Taylor Swift. If this video helps you out, hit that like and subscribe button and let me know down in the comments below what are the songs by Taylor Swift that you want to learn on guitar. Guys, the first thing that you want to know to play The Archer on guitar is that in order to get rid of some bar chords and keep this as beginner friendly as possible, we're going to capo up to 5th fret. And if you don't have a capo, I'll have a link to get this capo for free right up here. The next thing you want to know for The Archer is the structure of this song. We're going to start out with a verse and then a pre-chorus, and those two do have stars next to them. There's a reason for that, and I'll explain it in just a minute. From there, we're going to get to chorus, and then we'll have verse, pre-chorus, chorus again, then bridge, then pre-chorus, and then one last chorus to take us out of the song. And the last thing you want to know before we dive into The Archer is the 4 chords that we need to play this song. The first one is D, the next one is G, the next one is E minor 7, and the last one is C add 9. And I'll have chord charts for all of those in the pinned comment below for those of you who need them. And with all that in mind, guys, let's dive into The Archer. Man, I actually really dig this song. It reminds me a lot of Taylor's older writing style, which I'm just a huge fan of. And the guitar for this song is actually very, very beginner friendly as well. So I'm really excited to share this one with y'all. So guys, the first thing you want to look at for The Archer is our verses, because that's the first thing that we hear in the song. So for our verses, we're going to have 1 chord progression, and we're going to have 2 strum patterns. 1 strum pattern for our first verse, and then 1 strum pattern for our second verse. But first, let's take a look at what our chord progression is for our verses. What we're going to have for chords is we're going to go D, E minor 7, and then C add 9 for 2 measures. And that's going to be our chord progression for both of our verses. Now, what we're going to have for our strum pattern for our first verse, the one that had the star next to it, is just going to be a single down strum for each chord. But there is an exception to this. On our C add 9, rather than playing that C add 9 twice, we're just going to play a single down strum and hold it out for 2 measures, or for twice as long as all of the other chords. So a little walkthrough of what that'll look like is about like this. We'll go D, E minor 7, C add 9, D, E minor 7, C add 9. And that's just going to repeat a couple of times for our first verse. Now, for our second verse, what we're going to do for our strum pattern on that one, again, same chord progression for that. For our second verse, our strum pattern is going to be 4 palm muted down strums for each chord. Now, if you don't know what palm muting is, it's really beginner technique. All you're going to do is take the soft part of your hand right here, and you're going to rest it on your strings close to your bridge, and then you're going to strum. And that's just going to give you kind of a muted, muffled sound. This whole song, the instrumentals in this song are very dialed back, very muted, very muffled. And so that palm muting will just mimic that very, very well. So what we're going to do, again, same chord progression, 4 palm muted down strums per chord. So we've got D, we'll go down, 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 down. Just like that, we're going to, again, repeat that a couple of times for our second verse. So guys, with all that in mind, what we're going to do is I'm going to play through that a couple of times full speed, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through the single down strum part twice, and then I'm going to play through the 4 palm muted down strums part twice as well, so you can kind of get a flavor of both a little bit and be able to match it up and get the timing just right on those. So guys, a couple of times through our verse chord progression with both of those strum patterns for our first and for our second verse will look about like this without me talking. And from there, guys, we're going to be into what's being played for our pre-choruses and our bridge. Now, again, we're going to have 1 chord progression for both of those. We're going to have 2 strum patterns. The first strum pattern is going to be played on the very first pre-chorus, the one with the star next to it when we were looking at the structure. And then the other strum pattern we're going to look at is one that's going to play through all of our other pre-choruses and our bridge. So first, let's take a look at our chord progression. We're going to have G, D, E minor 7, and C add 9. And that's going to be our chord progression for all of those, all of our pre-choruses and our bridge. Now let's take a look at our first strum pattern. Our first strum pattern is just, again, going to be just a single down strum for each chord. And this strum pattern, again, is only going to be used on that very first pre-chorus. Now, one quick little note, our verse transitions were a little bit quicker. This one is actually going to be a little bit longer in between each chord. So we're going to hit that single down strum and let it hang just a little bit. So just kind of a note on that, but a quick little walkthrough of what that first strum pattern with that chord progression will look like for our first pre-chorus is about like this. We'll go G, D, E minor, and C. And that's about the timing that we'll use for that. You'll want to kind of play it along with the song just to kind of make sure you got that just right, because I might be just a little bit off on there, but that's about the timing on that. Now, our second strum pattern that we're going to do is we're going to do 8 palm muted down strums for each chord. And again, this strum pattern is going to play on all of the pre-choruses and the bridge, so all of them except for that first one that we use those single down strums on. So a quick little walkthrough of that with our chord progression will look something like this. We'll go down, 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 down. Just like that for all of our pre-choruses except for the first one and our bridge, just like that. And again, we're using that palm muting just to get that muffled sound that really matches all the instrumental vibe in this song of that kind of muted and muffled, kind of dialed back instruments that really highlights the voice. So with all that in mind, guys, we're going to do kind of the same thing with this one. I'm going to play through twice with that first single down strum pattern for the first pre-chorus, and I'll play through another 2 times with that 8 palm muted down strums that's going to play through all the other pre-choruses and the bridge. So guys, a couple of times that pre-chorus chord progression with both of those strum patterns will look something like this. And guys, finally, that's going to bring us into our choruses, which is the last thing that we need to know to play the Archer on guitar. So for our choruses, we're going to have one chord progression, and we're going to have a couple different strum patterns, and they're going to look a little bit funky, but I'll explain those in just a minute. So first, let's take a look at our chord progression. Our chord progression for our choruses is going to be G, D, C add 9, and then E minor 7, D, and then back to C add 9. And you'll notice that there's some stars and some number 2s next to those chords, and that has to do with what we're doing for strum pattern, and I'll explain that in just a second. So first, let's start breaking down this strum pattern. Our chords with stars next to them, we're going to do 6 palm muted down strums for each chord. I know that sounds weird and funky, but I'll explain it. It'll make a little bit more sense in just a second. So our chords that have stars next to them are G and the E minor 7. So let's start with our G here and walk through this. We're going to do down, 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 down. And then we're going to switch over to our D chord that has the 2 next to it. Now for that one, those ones that have 2 next to them, you might be able to guess, we're going to do 2 down strums for those. They're just transition chords, both of those D chords, just 2 quick down strums, and then we're into the next chord. So we'll go down, down, and then we're going to go to our C next. For our non-starred and non-number 2'd chords, we're going to do 8 down strums for those chords. So just like we did in our pre-choruses and bridge. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we go to our E minor. Again, that's a starred chord, so we got 6 down strums there. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we're on to our D, our transition chord. We'll do 1, 2, and then back to our C add 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So again, guys, a little explanation one more time to make sure that's clear. We've got for our starred chords 6 down strums. And then for our number 2'd chords, our squared chords there is what that would be technically called. We've got 2 down strums. And then for our chords that have no stars or no 2s next to them, we're going to have 8 down strums for those chords. So one more quick little walkthrough. I know that's a little bit confusing. So one more little walkthrough of what that'll all look like together. We'll start with our G chord. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Your E minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that is just going to repeat for all of our choruses. We don't have any single downstrum choruses. All of our choruses are going to be played the same way. So with all that in mind, guys, a couple of times full speed without me talking through that chord progression and those strum patterns that we're going to repeat through on our choruses will look about like this. And guys, that is everything that you need to know to play the Archer on guitar. As always, if you have any questions, you can hit me up in the comments down below. I'm usually pretty quick getting back to those. And again, if this video helped you out, hit that subscribe button. I have about 700 other guitar and ukulele lessons on this channel, and I usually try to post at least 3 to 5 new lessons every single week. So if you're learning guitar or ukulele, there could not be a more perfect channel for you to check out. If you want to see what song I'm jamming on today or pictures of my dog, you can hit up my Instagram story at @thegroovyguitardude. Link for that will be in the description below. Guys, I actually really dig the Archer. I've been a Taylor Swift fan for a very long time, and I'm a huge fan. I love Taylor Swift, and I really dig her older writing style, and the Archer feels like her older writing style. I really do dig her new stuff too, but my favorite stuff, the stuff that kind of made me fall in love with her music is, the stuff basically between Taylor Swift and Red. Those are like my favorite. All of those albums are just albums that I play and listen to all the time. And this feels like a song that probably could have gone on Red. Like, it just has that older writing style of hers. It's still poppy like her new stuff, but it just feels like that older writing style. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. And the guitar for it is very beginner friendly and very, very pretty too. I really dig how this song, for this song, again, we have really not too complicated of chord progressions or strum patterns, but it's all about the timing, right? This song is very well layered, and the whole song is a build. And so it starts out very, very mellow with those very simple single down strums for each chord. It does your first verse and pre-chorus like that. And throughout the rest of the song, it just builds and builds and builds and builds. And you have that 8 palm muted down strum kind of pattern that we follow for most of the song. And it just builds on top of that and gets bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the song. And that sounds really cool, and it feels really cool, and it's also very, very easy to play. Most people who are in their kind of first stages of learning guitar, even within your first maybe couple of weeks or maybe couple of months of playing guitar, will have no problem playing this, because all of the chords in this and all of the strum patterns in this are very beginner friendly. You just kind of gotta pay attention to where you're at in the song to make sure that you kind of got the right strum patterns where they go, because that's the only tricky part, is just making sure you got the right stuff where it belongs. But anyways, guys, this is a beautiful song. I had a lot of fun learning this one. I hope you guys have a lot of fun learning it as well, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all soon.